Approximately 10 years ago, during a reading challenge in which participants read 52 books in 52 weeks, I learned that she was undergoing chemotherapy and radiation therapy for stage 4 cancer. I decided to organize a care package and send it to her. At the time, I was not romantically interested in her and was not even aware of her appearance. A couple of days later, she sent me a message in which she expressed her emotion upon seeing the package on her doorstep. She stated that she had never received such a thoughtful gesture from anyone before. We proceeded to exchange messages and develop a friendship based on our shared love for books. Over time, our friendship evolved into a long-distance relationship. Our relationship was one of long distance. In 2015, I relocated to Texas to be with her, and she did the same in Pennsylvania. After 11 months, I proposed marriage, and the following year, we were wed. She had a long list of mental health issues that I was aware of, but I was not fully cognizant of their severity until we began living together. I did not fully comprehend the extent of her mental health issues until we began cohabiting. However, by that point, I had already made a lifelong commitment to her. I was there for her during both the good times and the bad times, and everything in between, for the next 7 years. As our marriage was coming to an end, she was actually at her highest point in life. She had managed to get her psychiatric problems under control. Her career was flourishing as she worked from home and earned more money than ever before. In subsequent court documents, she alleged that I had compelled her to take that position to exert control over her. The individual with whom she was engaged in an extramarital relationship resided in New York. She utilized the pretext of needing to visit the company's office there as a rationale for spending at least 2 years with him. During the 7 years we cohabited, we only engaged in one altercation. The incident occurred during our honeymoon in Key West, Florida. She became upset when I called to check on my parents. We subsequently reconciled, and she came to understand that my parents are of great importance to me. Consequently, I continued to call them daily, which did not cause her any concern since we did not have children and both had successful careers. There were few other areas of contention, as our marriage appeared to be functioning well from the outside. However, in reality, it was a one-sided relationship. The relationship was one-sided, with me providing support to her. As I gained a deeper understanding of her, I realized that she was not a supportive partner. Instead, she used me to stabilize her own life. Once she no longer needed me, she discarded me like garbage. In January 2020, we flew to Oklahoma and made a down payment on a piece of land so she could be closer to her family. Construction on the house began in the months that followed. Construction of the house commenced in the months that followed. In August 2020, we made the decision to permanently relocate to Oklahoma, leaving behind my family and friends in Pennsylvania, where I had lived for 20 years. I was unaware that she was engaging in infidelity during this period. Everything changed on the 12th of December, 2021, when she made a mistake that aroused my suspicions, despite being sober for 1.5 years. 5 years after struggling with alcoholism, she would binge when I went to work at night. She suddenly expressed a desire to attend an AAA conference in Chicago. I did not have a problem with it and supported her, but she forgot to bring a gift for her AAA sponsor, someone she claimed was incredibly important to her. I found this strange, but it was not a cause for concern. A few days later, she sent me a text message in which she expressed her displeasure at my behavior, stating that I was so messed up and that I was going through the same steps again. This was an unusual turn of events, as she was not known for expressing her emotions in such a way. I assumed that she meant that she had been drinking, which did not make sense to me. Why would she drink when she was supposed to be surrounded by her sponsor and other AAA members? I conducted a brief online search to ascertain whether an AAA conference was scheduled to take place in Chicago that weekend. I was surprised to discover that no such event was occurring. This was the first occasion during our marriage that I felt compelled to examine her iPad. I was shocked to find images of her with another man and screenshots of explicit content. I initiated the divorce process and it was finalized in less than 2 months after I discovered the infidelity. Initially, she did not wish to reveal the real reason behind our divorce and attempted to minimize the significance of the infidelity. Eventually, she consented to inform her parents on the 1st of February, 2021, while she was in the process of moving out. I requested permission to bid farewell to her mother, who was awaiting my departure outside. My relationship with the extended family was characterized by a close bond, fostered by the way in which her parents had always treated me as if I were their son. I conveyed my apologies to her mother and informed her that the relationship between her daughter and me had not worked out. Her response was unexpected. She replied that it was fine, that I had been both parties bore equal responsibility for the situation. The individual in question had presented herself online under false pretenses and had misrepresented her identity. She had also manipulated the truth and tarnished my reputation in front of her parents. I was angered by her mother's words. I decided to wait until all the legal paperwork was signed before exposing the truth. The divorce settlement involved a significant financial contribution from the respondent. It is probable that she sought an uncontested divorce in our state, potentially to avoid facing the judge and discussing her infidelity as part of the settlement. I retained the fully furnished house and 70% of its equity, as well as the newer car that was already paid off. I retained the funds that I had been setting aside from my paychecks for my parents' retirement. She had previously agreed to this arrangement when she complained about the division of house equity. I made it clear that I would not negotiate. I informed her that she should hire a lawyer because we would go to court to contest it. However, she chose not to do so on the 7th of March, 2021. I sent a detailed 9-page document to her, which included a list of the items that I wanted to retain. I sent an email to her immediate and extended family in which I exposed her infidelity. I also informed her manager at work and the CEO of her company of her infidelity. 5 days later, I was served with a restraining order which accused me of stalking and offensive behavior. In the event that she were to allege that I had also offended her, she even requested that the judge order me to attend a domestic issues program. It is important to note that I have never raised my voice or laid a hand on this woman. Even after what she did to me in her statement, she falsely stated that I never allowed her to leave the house alone, which is untrue. She also falsely stated that I forced her to work from home to control her and that I dictated her makeup and hairstyle choices. Furthermore, she has lied about me mistreating our cats. It is a matter of record that I made posts on this subreddit suggesting that women in other countries are imprisoned as a result of infidelity. The truth is that I made a post stating that cheaters, not women, are the ones punished for infidelity with fines or even imprisonment in some other countries. She intentionally altered my words, substituting cheaters with a women in an attempt to portray me as a monster. The look on her face was priceless when I presented that evidence in court and my lawyer had her read it aloud after numerous delays. The restraining order hearing finally took place 6 months later. She looked absolutely terrible when she walked in. Those 6 months had not been kind to her. It seemed like she had gained even more weight. Her stomach fat was still visible despite her attempts to conceal it. She tried to hide her acne scars with makeup, but it looked so poorly done, like a kabuki mask. Apparently, my email caused a lot of problems within her family. Of course, she took no responsibility for it and instead blamed others. The order hearing finally took place 6 months later. The woman appeared to have suffered significant deterioration in her physical appearance during the intervening period. It seemed as though she had gained even more weight, and her stomach fat was still visible despite her attempts to conceal it. She attempted to hide her acne scars with makeup, but the application was poorly executed, giving the appearance of a poorly applied kabuki mask. My email had caused significant distress within her family, and she took no responsibility for it, instead blaming me. In the courtroom, the judge ruled that the evidence provided by the plaintiff was insufficient to substantiate her claims. In contrast, the defendant presented a substantial body of evidence that refuted each of the plaintiff's allegations. While the defendant only needed to present one piece of evidence, she had months of credit card statements demonstrating that the plaintiff had been to various stores, restaurants, cafes, and other locations. Additionally, the defendant presented photographs of the two of them together, demonstrating that the plaintiff had different hairstyles and makeup at different points in time. At one point, the judge ruled that the plaintiff's evidence was insufficient to substantiate her claims. The individual in question was asked to provide evidence to substantiate her claims. She replied that she did not have any witnesses who could corroborate her account. Consequently, her case was dismissed. The only reason that I have not filed charges against her for falsely accusing me of an offense is that I do not wish to engage in another lengthy legal battle with her in the courtroom. She attempted to portray me as being obsessed with her, but the truth is that I have moved on with my life and I am now much happier than I was with her, and I have come to realize that I was never truly happy in that relationship. I was merely content. It is ironic that cancer brought us together, but I did not find true happiness until I removed her toxic presence from my life. If she ever tries to contact me in the future, I will not hesitate to go to the police and press charges for her false allegations of offense. I have updated this forum for support since my usual support system was miles away and I felt scared. In a previous Thanksgiving, my father expressed his gratitude for having one of his sons settled in life with a successful career and a family. I believe that sharing my news with them would be so devastating that it could potentially land them both in the hospital. This was similar to many others in my initial post. I took the blame upon myself for her infidelity. I questioned whether I had been a better husband. I was prompted to reflect on my role as a husband and the possibility that my actions might have contributed to my wife's infidelity. I considered the possibility that my wife's actions might have been a means of seeking attention elsewhere. Fortunately, I was able to seek the counsel of a support group, which collectively advised me to file for divorce as a means of expressing my gratitude for their support during challenging times. I am now in a position to provide an update on my story. I am pleased to report that it has a happy ending. The improvement of one's circumstances can inspire others to embark on similar journeys. It can even provide the courage to leave a partner who has been unfaithful. At the very least, it can bring a smile to one's face to read about a cheater being exposed after finding out about her infidelity. I was devastated. My self-esteem took a major hit, and I felt like I had no self-worth. In order to rebuild my self-esteem, I had to take action. My journey of self-improvement, which involved setting goals and working hard to achieve them, played a crucial role in regaining my self-esteem. My weight loss journey had actually started a couple of weeks before I discovered her infidelity. However, her betrayal motivated me to kick it into high gear just a few days after D-Day. On the day I joined a gym, I embarked on a 11-month journey of weight loss, which resulted in a reduction of nearly 60 pounds. The accompanying photograph, taken approximately 1 month after D-Day, illustrates my progress. On a whim, I decided to sign up for a marathon despite still being overweight and not having run a mile since my high school soccer days. I had 87 days to prepare and was determined to finish the race, regardless of the circumstances. I completed the marathon in a little over 5 hours after crossing the finish line. My confidence soared. If I could accomplish this, there was nothing I could not do when I put my mind to it. Currently, I am seeking an endurance coach. In order to prepare for a triathlon, which I was undertaking a few months after completing the marathon, a friend proposed that I should try bodybuilding. This was a challenge that I was initially reluctant to accept, as it was completely outside of my comfort zone. I was unfamiliar with the idea of standing half-naked in front of a large audience, and I was aware that I would be competing against individuals who had much more experience than me. However, I decided to embrace the challenge, with only 16 weeks to prepare. I was aware that I needed professional guidance, so I hired a personal trainer. I have been undergoing physical training since D. The culmination of this period was stepping on a bodybuilding stage and winning a medal. At this point, I was looking and feeling fantastic, with a high self-esteem and confidence. I was training for another competition in June and one more in October 2023. I have even made a bet that I will take first place in my category in October this year. I have been deliberately challenging myself to step outside of my comfort zone, despite having been a registered nurse for 10 years, with the majority of my experience being in the care of adults. An unexpected opportunity arose to work with children, which represents a significant departure from my previous experience. I have previously been engaged in the management of health issues, the administration of medications, and communication. However, these activities are markedly different when applied to children. Despite the challenges, I have embraced the opportunity and have developed a profound interest in this field. I am currently employed at a children's psychiatric hospital, where we provide critical support for children aged 5 to 17. Since my divorce, I have been able to significantly increase my income in the first year. My goal for 2023 is to bring in $200,000. Recently, I embarked on an incredible adventure with my best friend, a 5,000-mile road trip through 10 different states spanning over 7 days, all the way to Montana. Despite having always wanted to visit Montana during my marriage, I had never previously taken the initiative to make it happen, but this time we went for it and it was an absolute blast. The highlight of the trip was going on a fishing charter and each of us catching a lake trout that was over 29 inches long. We then cooked it up at our cozy lakeside cabin, which was truly memorable. In 2023, my goal is to visit several more states on my visit, with the intention of visiting every state in the US. My personal bucket list includes the exploration of Alaska, the Pacific Northwest, and the southeastern states. This year, I have made a conscious effort to prioritize my health and well-being. During the past decade, while I was married to her, I invested more time and money than I had in the preceding 10 years. I attended 3 individual therapy sessions, during which I discussed past issues. During the 4th session, I only needed 15 minutes because I did not have any past issues to discuss. My therapist encouraged me to focus on the future. This approach reminded me of a quote by Wayne Gretzky: "Anticipate where the puck is going, not where it has been." My therapist felt that I did not require any more sessions because I had fully recovered. I was doing remarkably well. I had fully recovered at that point. I no longer had any triggers. I used to have a recurring nightmare where they would both laugh at me, the clueless husband. However, those nightmares stopped when she falsely accused me of an offense in the restraining order. This is when I realized that she didn't care about me at all, so why should I care about her? Interestingly, her birthday falls 9 days before mine, and this year I completely forgot about it on D-. On the day, which my friend refers to as Liberation Day, I went out to celebrate. In terms of my love life, I decided to wait until the restraining order case against me was resolved before pursuing any romantic interests. Unfortunately, my first attempt did not succeed. I asked a female colleague out on a date, but she responded with a vague, "I'll think about it and let you know." A woman in her 40s was on a date with me and responded with a vague, "I'll think about it and let you know." In my opinion, if there is no enthusiastic yes, it is a no. A friend recommended the Hinge dating app to me, and I had much better luck there. I received numerous matches and I went on a date with a woman who was 38 years old. I should mention that it had been a decade since I last courted a woman. A decade had elapsed since I had last courted a woman. In those days, we exchanged love letters by post. With this woman, however, we hit it off very well while messaging each other. Just a couple of hours before the date, something special occurred. I informed her that I had everything covered and did not want her to worry about paying for anything. In addition, I had mentioned that I would hold the door for her wherever we went. However, she did not appreciate this, stating that it should have been included in my dating profile. She went on to say that in the current era, women do not require men to pay for them or hold doors for them. Prior to this, I had inquired about her boundaries regarding holding hands, hugging, and kissing on the first dates. She stated that she would only feel comfortable holding hands on the first date. I replied in jest that it would be akin to an Amish date, akin to going out with my sister. As the appointed time for our meeting approached, the atmosphere became increasingly tense. I inquired as to whether she wished to cancel, and I made it clear that there would be no hard feelings if she did so. However, she responded, "No, I am intrigued by you." I could have cancelled, too, but to be frank, I wanted to see how much of a disaster the date would turn out to be. I pictured our dinner to be like the one in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, followed by their attempts to end each other. However, when we actually met up, we had a great time. We had a drink, took a private Latin dance class, and the evening proceeded without any tense moments or awkwardness. I informed her that, while I had enjoyed the evening and found her attractive, I did not foresee the relationship progressing beyond the first date. I had believed that our personalities would clash in the future. I escorted her to her vehicle and she was unable to stop expressing her gratitude. Throughout the duration of the encounter, I was the recipient of constant praise. We shared a lengthy embrace before parting ways. Upon my return, she sent me a text message, stating that it appeared as though I was attempting to initiate a kiss throughout the night. In response, I acknowledged that I had indeed been, but that I had respected her boundaries. She then suggested that perhaps I should have reciprocated the gesture at an earlier point in time. As a result, I extended an invitation for her to visit my residence the following evening for the purpose of preparing a meal together. Dinner together, she agreed and came over within 24 hours. We were engaging in intimate behavior in my bed. She expressed her desire for us to have a casual dating arrangement, which suited me perfectly. It allowed me to focus on my other goals without any pressure. However, I ended the relationship a few days later because she showed me disrespect after the way my wife treated me in a disrespectful manner towards the end of our marriage. I made a promise to myself that I would never tolerate such behavior from another woman if I had started dating immediately after my divorce. I might have put up with a lot of disrespectful behavior because I was still adjusting to the emotional trauma of my divorce. My self-esteem was severely damaged at that time. However, I subsequently met my current girlfriend, a stunning Latina aged 33. She not only appreciated chivalry but welcomed it in our conversation. She would say things like, "It would be an honor to go on a date with you." I had never felt this way about a woman before. From the very beginning, she has been nothing but supportive and uplifting. She has been consistently supportive and encouraging, in stark contrast to my previous partner, who was often critical. Upon meeting, she greeted me with a warm embrace and held my hand even as we were exiting the vehicle. Throughout the evening, she playfully touched my arm and shoulder as we shared laughter. We subsequently proceeded to engage in dancing, despite my lack of experience and her superior expertise. Despite my lack of dancing skills and 2 left feet, the experience felt natural and exciting. I did not feel like a clumsy robot on the dance floor, as I did on my first date with the other woman. Our bodies moved together effortlessly, and she even kissed my neck as we danced. At one point, the dance instructor departed the room, allowing the couple to enjoy a private moment. After dinner, the man took his partner to an employee party, recognizing her affinity for dancing. He discreetly requested that the DJ play her favorite song, and the couple proceeded to dance on the dance floor, surrounded by onlookers. Her demeanor was notably jubilant, and she was extremely affectionate and enthusiastic, and by the end of the night, she had broken her own rule and initiated a French kiss. She subsequently visited my residence, and we have been in a committed relationship ever since. We both deleted our dating apps after our second date and decided to be exclusive. It is remarkable how our backgrounds and experiences differ, yet we have found a common ground. Despite our disparate cultural backgrounds, our values and beliefs aligned remarkably well. I had not anticipated finding someone so quickly, and I had not considered the possibility of settling down with one partner. However, when a beautiful redhead from Hingeworld matched with me, I was immediately drawn to her. I did not even feel the need to open her message, as I was already aware that my heart was set on pursuing this wonderful woman. A year has elapsed since the commencement of this relationship. It commenced on a rather unfortunate note, but has since concluded with the most remarkable highs. The most gratifying aspect is that I feel as though I have only just begun. This is a culmination of my success. I commissioned an artist to create a painting, entitled Rebirth of a Man, which I have been working on with him since January 2022. I shared my story with him at that time, explaining my journey towards self-improvement. The painting represents my personal growth and future aspirations. I had no preconceived expectations regarding the outcome, but the artist's interpretation surpassed my initial expectations. He delivered the painting to me immediately following my bodybuilding competition, which seemed a fitting conclusion. I hope my narrative can serve as an inspiration and provide assistance to many individuals facing similar challenges. I am aware of the apprehension associated with ending a relationship with a partner who has been unfaithful. I have experienced this myself and contemplated reconciliation. At one point, I considered reconciliation but ultimately decided to divorce. However, I would like to emphasize that there is a vast and exciting world beyond the confines of one's current relationship. One will encounter individuals who exemplify the characteristics of a healthy relationship. It was not until I met my current girlfriend that I realized I was never truly happy with the person I was married to. While I may have been content, I was never truly happy.